As some of you may know, this is room 166 in Barrison Hall Engineering Building. Um, this was where the tragic shooting was. I took a class here and spent 5 days a week in that building before, just a floor above or a room away. And I know there are a lot of emotions people are feeling right now in response to such a tragic catastrophe. Is people were making their own, love letters to Brown University. People were making, videos of their favorite moments, and I thought that was really inspiring. So I think I want to do that in my own way. I want to talk about all my favorite things about Brown University. That's going to be the title of this video. And I just don't think I'm able to communicate that enough. How the structures in place, how the people that Brown attracts has allowed me to absolutely blossom as a person. And it's not been easy. It's been anything but easy. It's been really disorienting and scary at times. I felt super lost. But I think the point of this video is saying that no matter what I am able to do, or the people around me are able to do or accomplish in the future, that will be because of Brown. And I am really, proud to say that, and to know that there's resilience and strength, and that people can really do some amazing things to make others feel better about themselves. So yeah, I want to kind of do my best to remove all of the incredibly messy and negative and chaotic things going right now, especially on social media, and kind of replace it with pride. Unapologetic and undoubted pride to be a part of this community. So yeah, this is all my favorite things about Brown University. You're gonna have some of the coolest conversations with people, and it's really inspiring. I've learned a lot. I've been able to have such interesting conversations with people, and it's really amazing. And I think the highlight of that is that people have kind of realized, the reason for that is people have realized that your personality or your interests don't have to necessarily they are independent of your accomplishments or your achievements. Um, you can live free and feel free to be interested in whatever you want to, regardless of your work or your school or things like that. And I think that has rubbed off a lot to be able to go to my next reason, which is the approachability of people. People are so freaking kind at Brown. They're so understanding. They're so compassionate, and I think that's amazing. It just comes down to the idea that people have realized that what you do or any of the work you're involved with has nothing to do with how you want to treat people. And first, I also want to say, in this video, I'm going to talk about a lot of side quests I've been able to do through No Empty Seats, our mental health nonprofit, and we've been able to do a lot of fun things. But the approachability of people has helped enhance that so much. Maybe that's a privilege, maybe that's not, but I feel so happy that I can go up to anyone at any point and be able to ask them for something, or ask their opinion, or be able to pick their brain about something, or ask for a favor. It's really amazing, and it makes people so approachable, and so kind and compassionate. Something that I feel represents this and the kindness of people's hearts is an affirmation wall. So in junior year, I had an affirmation wall. I was, honestly, it was my hardest year, but the prompt of it was write something or any advice that you need to hear. And I had two other roommates, and their friends would come in, my friends would come in, and no one batted an eye to not do the affirmation wall at all. Everyone wrote down something, and I thought that was amazing and really representative of how kind people are, and how people are willing to help one another. They're willing to read off the affirmations that have came beforehand and learn. But I thought it was really empowering the way people would go in and not think not give it a second thought and immediately write down what's advice I need to hear. People are so open-minded and so willing to listen. It's incredible. The final thing I thought was really cool was we did a fundraiser party for suicide prevention, and at the end, unprompted, people, when they were leaving, they put their arms around each other and started swaying back and forth. No one knew who prompted that. No one knew why that was going on. It was so wholesome. And I feel privileged that I don't think many other places would be able to do that at a party, a really very conventional party. It was just so amazing that I got to be a part of that, to experience that, to be a part of the huddle and everything like that. But people are so supportive. It's incredible. I'm really proud to be a part of that. And I think the affirmation wall and the fundraiser party where people were getting huddled, I think those are all great ideas that really show how kind people are at Brown. And I'm so thankful. There were also some pretty unserious events, some really cool things like, and honestly kind of formative in how I carry out No Empty Seats and all the events and things like that. The Brown Marching Band is very, very popular here at Brown. They're known for kind of being a troll. They're kind of infamous. And what's really cool is that every finals week, during December, they come in and go to each floor of the library and they just blast Christmas music while people are in the heat of finals. And when people all clap and say thank you for playing, the entire band goes shh. So they're kind of trolls. I like it. I think it's another example that you don't need to take life so seriously in such a serious place, honestly, at Brown. So that I love. Shout out the marching band. And then the final thing that I felt was a very unserious event was one time I was walking down the street and I saw this guy holding a huge boombox playing some loud R&B like love songs, staring at this girl on a third floor window of an apartment. And he was screaming the song. He was saying "I love you," and I adored that. I thought that was hysterical. And and I think it's those kinds of moments where people can, take a deep breath. So many people are trying to do some of the hardest things in the world. They're trying to study the hardest things, get into the top programs, apply to the hardest job. And it's just so nice and refreshing to be able to take a step back from that, for people to take a breath and really know it's okay. It's okay. So yeah. With that being said, I felt like all of this unseriousness and people being so unapologetic about themselves and their clubs, that really inspired me a lot. And that brings me to my next favorite thing about Brown, that you can do absolutely anything. I was on a mission to try to do some fun spectacles and host some fun events to cheer people up and make people feel better about themselves. And we ended up doing a lot, reflecting on the past couple years. We held pop-up shops to sell, mental health clothing. We hosted 2 flash mobs, and we're going to do another one next semester. We did a Barbie flash mob in my sophomore year and a High School Musical flash mob in my junior year. I ran the Providence Marathon, handcuffed in an orange jumpsuit in 90-degree weather, and all my friends helped me train for that and supported me and filmed all of that. We turned our dining hall into an Italian restaurant where we had waiters and aprons and chef hats and everything like that, and we helped pour water and grate cheese. We, taking inspiration from the guy that was holding the boombox up to the girl in the window, I was serenading one of my friends in the dining hall and blasted Frankie Valli singing "Can't Take My Eyes Off You." I dressed up, me and some friends have dressed up as Spider-Man, passing out candy and cards during Halloween. We did slip and slides on the main green. In the first weeks of the semester, we did water balloon fights in the summer, and we did pillow fights with strangers. We we printed out a huge sign from the art building that said Happy International Women's Week, and we dressed up all chivalrous and walked around and tried to make sure all the women in our lives knew they were celebrated. Two of my closest friends had birthdays on the same time roughly, so we kind of just took over the campus center and bought just a ridiculous amount of pasta, and we did a spaghetti eating contest between them, because who doesn't love a birthday celebration like being nauseous and full of carbohydrates. So that was a great time. And then finally, one of my favorites, my best friend Mac isn't gonna like this too much, but we did a TED Talk where my friend Mac, he dressed up. We made a poster and everything, and we rented out the largest lecture hall at Brown. It seats about like 1,200 or 1,500 people, and the challenge for him was to give a TED Talk without knowing any of the slides beforehand. And I guess some of the slides you can see behind me, but it was a really good time. And I think all of those things really embody that you can really do anything, as long as it's in good light, as long as it's in good faith, and Brown's all for that. Whether their administration's all for that, the most importantly, the students are all for that. They're all for compassionate, goofy, unserious, spectacleized things that they want to make. They're all for that, and I'm so happy to be part of that. Or when me and my friends come up with something, we make it happen because of these things in place, because of the friends that the talented friends that are willing to pitch in their unique ways, because of how excited Brown is to be the happy Ivy. I think it's incredible. It's incredibly inspiring, and I wouldn't be able to do half things I could have done at a different college campus. Now, something I think embodies the idea that you can really do anything the most is the idea of an independent study class. You can actually create a class at Brown, and I don't think that doesn't get talked about enough. And I also think it's the most representative of the Brown University experience. You can create a class that fills the gap of anything that at Brown. So what we did was a suicide prevention class and a mental health awareness class, which was really awesome, and it was called GISP 10, Group Independent Study Project 10, addressing stigma and creating conversations around mental health. It was an amazing experience. The semester was split into the first half, which is instruction, where we learned about different lenses of mental health. For example, how what cultural upbringing can do on your mental health, what comedy and laughter can do on mental health, what physical activity can do to your mental health. And then the second half was what can you do about this? What can you do learning about mental health? So we learned, community engagement people and nonprofit owners came in and talked about how to manage social impact. We heard from suicide prevention advocates on the right ways and the correct ways to check in on a friend and how to be a mental health advocate in your community. They came in 3 days a week, 1 hour per session, to talk about mental health. And they put in those hours, and no one can take that away from them. No one can take the community and the class away from them. And I feel fully confident being able to call or text any of these students or classmates. And I hope that they feel the same. And yeah, I forget how much of a privilege that is, that you can take a class, you can create a class for credit that your other friends or students or strangers can take. And it's an absolutely amazing experience. I learned so much about public speaking. I learned so much about teaching. I obviously learned so much about mental health. We shared laughs, and we made sure that things stayed lighthearted when they needed to be and unserious, but we also had really, really hard conversations about suicide and things like that. So I am more than grateful for this experience. And GISP 10, addressing stigma, creating conversation around mental health, amazing experience. None of this would be possible. None of this work with the nonprofit. none of the flash mobs, none of the independent study class, none of the free hugs that were given out. None of that would be possible without the community here at Brown, here back in my hometown. The idea that people want to help, people want to pitch in, create their own unique deals and perspectives. The idea that people want to experience it. People are willing to be on the other half of giving out the hug. And the Brown community is willing to be open-minded towards Don't Be Seats. I'm so eternally grateful. I think it's incredible. Because, to be entirely honest, like I said in the beginning of this video, the idea that you could have freedom to really pursue whatever you are really passionate about, that can be really, really disorienting. That can be really lonely, and you can be honestly really, really lost. And I think Brown, that not only did they have these amazing communities that want to bring people in, if you don't feel like there's a place for you, they give you all the materials, the programs, the resources for you to make your own. For you to make your own club, for you to make your own class, for you to foster those connections. And I know a lot of colleges do that, but I think that Brown is such a special place for people to feel so enamored and special about the things that are going on around them. So I think this is almost another reminder, this freedom, that we all can be advocates going into next semester. We all can play a part and get in the fight to make others feel more comfortable. We all can check in on our friends. We all can be there for one another and make sure that everyone feels safe. I want you all to know it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to feel confused. It's okay to feel lost. And to really strike that pride, to not worry about fear, but to know that everyone has each other's back so strongly, no matter whatever happens, no matter how awful a situation can be here on this campus. I know that I am transformed from the school, and that the school has transformed me, absolutely built all these formative experiences for me, and fostered all these amazing connections with people. And that's why I felt compelled to make this thank you letter to Brown. As I go into my last semester, it feels weird that things are wrapping up. But yes, I truly do believe that anything I do, it will be from this basis, from the Brown community, from the FM community, back in my hometown. You all listening to this 24th episode of the podcast. I know there's a little bit higher production, I think. Thank you for that. It's been amazing. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're managing well. When you're feeling down, just always find time and find those ways to count your blessings, and find that pride within the communities you're part of, and the places you've been, and everything will be okay in the end.